What's good, everybody? Welcome to an edition of my CD collection. Um, I know it's been a couple of months. I, I know it's been a couple of months, but I was just busy saving up some money and everything like that. So I thought, like a couple months, like last month, I was like, you know what? I was like, you know what? Let me cop some CDs and stuff like that. So yeah, so I got some. Yeah. Okay. So the first CD I'm gonna do today is Prince's 11th studio album, the Batman soundtrack, Batman, however you want to call this. Um, Listen, this was released in 1989, Paisley Park Records under Warner Brothers. Actually, just Warner Brothers. Okay. Singles I'm known for are he came out with a lot of singles. The Bat Dance, Party Man, The Armies of Orion, featuring Sheena Easton, Scandalous, in the Future. This is actually his third. This is actually his third soundtrack. After Purple Rain and Parade or Under the Cherry Moon, however you want to call that. This was released after his so-called golden period, and if you want to be technical, a lot of people say it ended with the Black Album. A lot of people say it ended with Love Sexy. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, people have their opinions and stuff like that. Um, the reason why he did the soundtrack, because well, I'm gonna get to the full story when I do the review on it soon. But like, I think Tim Burton approached him asking if he can do a soundtrack because originally this was supposed to be a collab album with Michael Jackson, with Prince playing the Joker and Michael playing Batman. But um, Michael at that time he was in the Bad Tour. I think he was in the Bad Tour and stuff like that. So Prince did the whole album himself. And yeah. Overall, I actually like this album. I mean, it's not his best, but it's very enjoyable, like very enjoyable. And a lot of people shit on this album because it came out after Love Sexy, and they kind of thought it was cheesy. But this album grew on me a lot recently. And one of my favorite songs, probably my favorite song of this album is Electric Chair. Can't get enough of that song. But Prince, Batman, '89. And then the following year, he dropped this album. This is Prince plus a few various artists. Graffiti Bridge soundtrack. This is actually his fourth soundtrack. Released in 1990. Singles albums known for are Thieves in the Temple. I love that song. Round and Round, which was actually I believe Tevin Campbell's it was a Tevin Campbell song. And New Power Generation, which that was actually the anthem for his backing band at a time. So yeah, if you want to put it that way, that's like possibly I think their first appearance on Wax. I believe so. So um, this was for his soundtrack to his the sequel to Purple Rain. That movie was did not like that movie. It just felt like more of a long form music video, a few plots sprinkled throughout the videos. New movie. And he kind of a lot of these songs he kind of reworked from his vault and stuff like that. So, but at the same time, he had guest appearances from people he was working with at the time, like the Time, whom I think they actually got back together around this time and stuff like that. They actually got back together around this time. George Clinton, who was signed to Paisley Park Records, um, Tevin Campbell, Like I mentioned countless times that he was working with Prince and Quincy Jones, Mavis Staples of the legendary Staples Singers. She was signed there. Yeah. Personally, this album is okay. It had some dope cuts. I'm not gonna lie, but the some of the Prana J songs was kind of fell short, and it was like a lot of filler towards like the end. But I'm gonna definitely review this album probably sooner than you think. So I'll get more into it and shit. This next album, I can't believe I found this in stores because like this album is kind of, I mean, it's not like it's hard to come by, but I was actually just took me by surprise. Whitney Houston's third studio album, "I'm Your Baby Tonight," um, released in 1990 on Arista. This came out 3 years after her second studio album, Whitney. Um, Singles albums known for are basically almost the whole song. Taking a Chance, I'm Your Baby Tonight, All the Man That I Need, Miracle, My Name Is Not Susan, one of my favorite Whitney songs, I Belong to You, and that we didn't know. With this project, she had more creative control over this album, and basically, I believe this was the first time she worked with Babyface, if I'm not mistaken. Let me double check. Yeah, this is the first time she worked with Babyface. And let me tell you guys something. Back in the 90s, Babyface was that motherfucker. Like, production, songwriting, everybody went to him. Like, the same way people will go to Primo, hip hop wise, people will go to fucking Babyface. But yeah, back to the topic. This is actually a dope album. Like, this is probably one of my favorite albums from her. Vocally, I feel like vocally, this album and the Bodyguard soundtrack, she was definitely at her prime, basically. Definitely a dope album. What else can I say about this album? I checked the album out. Rest in peace, Whitney Houston. Then we have Michael Jackson's Blood on the Dance Floor, released in 1997 on Epic. I've done a review on this album. Um, I thought it could have been a little bit better, but it's I still recommend it. Amy Winehouse's debut album, Frank, released in 2003 on what's that label? What's that label? What's the label? Universal Island Records. You guys should know who Amy Winehouse is or was. Um, Singer, R&B singer. Most people know her for that song Rehab, and shit like that. So it is what it is. But after I actually heard his album last week, and I loved it. I loved it, and cause Back to Black, that was cool. I like that one, but this was like more soulful, more jazzy. Like singles I was known for are Stronger Than Me, Take the Box, In My Bed, You Set Me Flying, Fuck Me Pumps, and Help Yourself. Um, the reason why she called this album Frank was because like it's supposed to be named after Frank Sinatra and shit like that. So very good album. I find the album to be very underrated. Um, Amy Winehouse went on record saying that she actually did not like the album. I don't know. I was like kind of surprised because Back to Black was very. I mean, it was good, but it had like more of like a commercialish sounding sound. But it is, yeah. Definitely recommend this album. I don't know. I think this album is yeah. This album is just it's kind of hard to come by because like you can find Back to Black easily, but this album was just then the last two Master of Puppets, Metallica. Their third studio album is basically a lot of people have called this album like the greatest thrash metal album of all time. A lot of people have said this is Metallica's strongest effort. I agree, definitely agree, but at the same time, Ride the Lightning is just as good as this album. Um, Only single that really came out was Master of Puppets. That was like the only single. Shit. Other than that, what can I say about this album? What can I say about this album? Like this album is just dope, dark. It's actually the first album that to feature songwriting credits from Dave Mustaine and things of that nature. So what else can I say? Oh, I forgot to say this is actually the last album that they've done with Cliff Burton, the bassist, because Burton he died. I think he died like a year after or a year after this album. He died. Let me double check. I'm sorry. Actually, the same year he died. The same year and stuff like that. And it's kind of crazy because this is like his best work. His single best work is on this album. Like the song that really got me to get this was Orion. That bass line on that song, fuck out of here, man. And this is a fucking classic album. I know people were heavily influenced by this. Metallica and Justice for All, 1986. This might be my last album. It's going to be a controversial one, but this is their fifth album, their self-titled album, the Black Album, however you want to call it. This is what I will call this their breakthrough album. Now don't get me wrong, and Justice for All, that was like the first album where it had a music video, so I'll call that break album. It's like their breakthrough album, basically. Singles albums known for are Enter Sandman, love that song. But at the same time, I kind of do get a little tired of it sometimes. The Unforgiving, Nothing Else Matters, Wherever I May Roam, and Sad But True. Um, this is like the best-selling album, but there's some controversy behind this album. For one, a lot of metal purists, they say that they sold out with this album because their sound was more commercial. Personally, I can understand because like they started working with Bob Rock, and Bob Rock he has worked with people like the Cult, Metallica, oh, duh, Motley Crue, Aerosmith, Bryan Adams, and shit like that. And so he was getting noticed around that time too, and shit like that. And so this sound at the time was more. It was still had that thrash sound, but at the same time, it was like more appealing. And like a lot of people took offense to the song "Nothing Else Matters" because it's like a ballad and shit like that. But I fucking love that song. I mean, and another thing too, like although the tempos were slowed down, like it was still Metallica, basically. And that's why I still say that this is like my either my third or fourth favorite album from them. After this album, I was like, I'm done with them because like the whole load, unload, the Lou Reed album, the Napster, like it was just a band self-destructing basically. But it is what it is. That's Metallica, the Black Album, 1991, and that's all the time. Thank you for watching. Oh, and I forgot to say, no, I already, I'll tell you that day, but I was gonna say, what was I gonna say? Like a lot of these albums, I'm gonna do a review, but like I'm still trying to finish up some more stuff. I'm sorry if there was lack of videos lately. been busy with a lot of things, but stay tuned for more. Peace.